Chapter 2138. Do you really think I don't know what you've done behind my back all these years? Child, you're too ambitious. J's eyes were cold. Father, Byron was sweating profusely as he tried to explain himself. Get lost. J's terrifying aura completely engulfed Byron. No matter how powerful you are, the position of patriarch of the Rothschild family is not yours. Get lost. You're not allowed to step out of the family for the next 10 years. 10 years. Byron couldn't believe it. Take him away. If anything goes wrong, you'll be responsible for the consequences. Juz said coldly as he looked at the group of people in the villa. Yes. An old man from Europe waved his hand and said, Take third young master back and keep an eye on him. Father, I can't accept this. I can't accept this. My ability is the strongest. Why? Byron's hysterical voice became more and more distant until it disappeared. Our Rothschild family doesn't lack ability. Juz sighed softly as a cold glint flashed in his eyes. Mr. Liu, I'm very sorry. I didn't teach my son well and caused you trouble. Juz stepped forward apologetically. Seeing that Byron had lost, Han Wuying immediately retreated. If he continued to fight with Han Xiao, he would lose for sure. Now that the European emperor had appeared, and even Byron was imprisoned, Han Wuying was no match for Han Xiao. He had no chance of winning. Not fighting anymore? Han Xiao stared at Han Wuying. Oomph. Han Wuying snorted and left the villa in a flash. Running away when you can't win? How rude. Han Xiao was a little bored. Then, he looked at the European emperor. Old fart, you've finally shown yourself. A sinister look appeared in Han Xiao's eyes, which had always been indifferent to everything. Mr. Han Xiao just looked at Han Xiao and said, I'm very sorry about what happened back then. Although I've admired the ancient Han clan for a long time, and I admire your talent and want you to marry my daughter, I've never forced you to do so. It was your family who killed Miss Qin Yu Gu to force you to marry my daughter. It had nothing to do with the Rothschild family. Besides, didn't you kill the murderer who killed Miss Qin Yu Gu? Hearing that, Han Xiao was taken aback. Old thing, you really know how to talk. That's the truth. Rosker didn't get angry. Instead, he calmly stated a fact. Ning Shi, Tang Lang, and the others finally learned of Han Zhao's identity through Han Xiao and Rochelle. The most monstrous genius of the ancient martial art Han clan was greatly admired by the European emperor. Originally, he wanted Han Xiao to marry his youngest daughter, but in the end, he indirectly killed the girl called Qin Yu Gu. So, grandfather actually has such a past. Tang Lang had a surprised expression on his face. At this moment, Ning Shi suddenly realized that the clothing brand Ji was designed by Han Xiao. At first, Ning Shi didn't know what Ji meant. Now, it was clear that the word Ji was the same as song, and Han Xiao was doing it to commemorate that girl, whoosh. Right at this moment, a pitch-black figure suddenly appeared inside the manor. The figure approached Han Xiao like a bolt of lightning, and his palm blade, which was caught off guard, slashed toward Han Xiao. Grandfather, be careful! Tang Lang couldn't help but cry out in alarm. The speed of that figure was simply too fast. At this moment, Han Xiao's expression turned cold. I hate sneak attacks the most. After saying that, Han Xiao didn't even turn his head and grabbed the small palm that was attacking him. Bang! Han Xiao's figure moved, and the figure was directly thrown into the distance. Annie, Ning Shi cried out in alarm. Chapter 2139. Annie's body was unusually agile as she stabilized her body in mid-air and landed on the ground. She was actually able to receive Han Zhao's palm, strike unscathed. Tang Yi, Tang Lang, and Feng Xiaoxiao were all shocked. Ning Shi was also shocked, but at the same time, she heaved a sigh of relief. If Han Xiao had accidentally killed someone again, she would have gone crazy. Looks like I have to do it myself. Annie's gaze swept across the crowd, her cold face devoid of any emotion. She had originally wanted to use Byron and Xiao Yi's power to destroy the Liu family, but she had never expected to alarm the lucky emperor and ruin all her plans. Grandfather, she was the one who poisoned Xiao Bao. You can get the antidote if you defeat her, Tang Lang hurriedly reminded. But this time, Han Xiao felt something was wrong. The moment Han Xiao turned around and saw Annie, his eyes, which seemed to be playing around with the world, suddenly burst open like a silver bottle, emitting a terrifying light. That exquisite and beautiful face was filled with shock and disbelief. Grandfather knows Annie? Tang Lang was puzzled. Could there be a grudge? Feng Xiaoxiao murmured. Before they could react, Annie's expression changed when she saw Han Zhao's face. Looking at Han Zhao's expression, she wanted to skin him alive. Tang Lang suddenly came to a realization. There really is a grudge? Annie stared at Han Zhao's face, as though she had a deep hatred for him. She was so angry that her whole body was trembling. Why do you look so similar to Brother Qingze? Who allowed you to use Brother Qingze's face? Annie's brows were filled with a bone-chilling coldness, her eyes surging with a frightening, murderous intent. In the next second, Annie attacked Han Xiao with a fierce, murderous intent. Her fingers flashed with a cold light, and 5 unusually sharp hidden weapons appeared, wanting to tear off the human skin mask on Han Zhao's face. Han Xiao stood there motionlessly, as though he had been dumbfounded, as though his soul was in another world. Tang Lang watched from the side with his heart thumping. Grandfather, be careful. Fuck, what kind of deep hatred is this to want to ruin someone's face? Jealous of the Almighty's good looks? Ning, she also exclaimed, Almighty, just as the blade in Annie's hand was about to pierce Han Xiao. Han Zhao's figure disappeared like a ghost. Annie didn't even manage to touch the corner of his clothes. However, very quickly, Annie attacked even more ferociously. Surprisingly, Han Xiao only defended and did not take the initiative to attack. Ning, she was confused. What's going on? The Almighty seemed to know Annie, but his expression didn't seem like he was looking at an enemy. Annie acted as if she didn't know the Almighty, but what did she mean when she said that the Almighty looked like her big brother Qingze? Do Han Xiao and Yun Qingze look alike? Yin Shan said, I left the Yun family when I was 10 years old. Since then, I've never seen anyone from the Yun family. I don't know what my cousin looks like when he grows up. However, the genes of the Yun family are not bad. I think he should look all right. Ning, she was speechless. Just okay? He looks so much like the Almighty. His looks are definitely off the charts. Okay? Noticing that the air pressure suddenly dropped a few degrees, Ning, she quickly added, Of course, no matter who he is not as handsome as my sweetheart. While Ning, she was speaking, the fight had already turned the world upside down. Strictly speaking, it was Annie who was fighting one-sidedly. Han Zhao's expression didn't change from beginning to end. He stared at the girl's face and let her attack crazily. Chapter 2140. The more Tang Lang looked, the more he felt something was amiss. Fuck, is it my imagination? Why do I feel that grandpa dotes on Annie so much? It's so sweet that my teeth hurt. Ning Shi, Tang Lang pointed and said, Look, just now after Annie's move, her body almost couldn't stabilize. Grandpa quickly helped her up. Don't think that I didn't see it just because you were fast. Little Annie fell into Grandpa's arms. Grandpa deliberately took a step forward. He took the opportunity to hold her hand. Ning, she was speechless. Stop talking, we're not blind. They could almost see that Han Xiao treated Annie differently. From the beginning to the end, he was simply treating her like a willful lover. The two of them showed off their affection for each other for more than half an hour. Finally, Han Xiao abruptly restrained the furious little girl who was on the verge of collapse. He blocked her left hand with one hand and pressed on her right wrist with the other. It was unknown which acupuncture point he pressed, but in an instant, all the hidden weapons in Annie's hands fell to the ground. In the next second, Han Xiao held the girl's small hand and slowly placed it on his face. When Annie's fingers came into contact with the man's warm skin, the crazed expression on her face suddenly froze, turning into astonishment. No, it's not a human skin mask. This face is actually real? How can this be? Why does this person look so similar to Brother Qingze? At least 70% to 80%, but the temperament is completely different. A trace of confusion appeared on Annie's face. Then her eyes instantly turned cold. No one is qualified to wear the same face as Brother Qingze. Han Xiao still didn't say a word. only quietly looked at the girl in front of him. In the next second, under the girl's angry gaze, he forcefully pulled the girl into his arms. Tang Lang. Wow, Grandpa is amazing. Feng Xiao Xiao. Aya, why do I feel that Almighty and little cutie Annie are quite a good match? Ning Shi. Almighty, I asked you to help me get the antidote. Why did you run off to pick up girls? Suddenly being hugged, Annie's expression changed. How dare you? In the next second, she suddenly heard the man's suppressed voice. Silent Song, Silent Song. The moment she heard this name, Annie's face suddenly went blank. Her expression was dazed for a second. Why? Why is this name so familiar? Why was it that when she clearly wanted to push this man away, she couldn't control her body at all, as if she was extremely familiar with this embrace? Was it because this man looked too much like Brother Qingze? However, she could clearly tell the difference between the two of them. At this moment, she was not only familiar with his face, but also everything about this man. She knew that she should push him away and kill him. But this embrace was like a spell that controlled her consciousness. She couldn't resist at all. Hearing Han Zhao's quiet song, Ning Shi, Tang Lang, and the others were all stunned. Damn, what did Grandpa just call Annie? Serenity's song? Ning Shi nodded. I think so. Tang Lang was dumbfounded. Isn't you good dead? Ning Shi, I don't know either. Fuck. If Annie is Serenity's song, then wouldn't I have to call her Grandma? Ning Shi, can't you focus on the wrong things every time? Chapter 2141. Han Xiao hugged the girl tightly as if he was hugging his entire life. I'm sorry. It's my fault. I couldn't find you. Annie's face was expressionless, but her tears were completely uncontrollable. She didn't even know why she was crying, but when she heard the man's voice, the tears fell as if they had their own consciousness. Come with me. I'll help you remember everything. Han Xiao grabbed the girl's hand and quickly turned to leave. Ning Shi immediately broke down. Great God. Wait. Antidote. Antidote. Han Xiao stopped in his tracks and looked at the lifeless girl who was being held by him mechanically. Yuga, where's the antidote? Annie stared blankly into the man's eyes, as if she was under a spell, and took out a small medicine pouch from her body. Han Xiao took the small medicine pouch and casually threw it to Ning Shi behind him, then carried the exhausted Annie by the waist and quickly disappeared into the depths of the forest. Behind him, everyone was dumbfounded. Ning Shi looked at the antidote in her hand and muttered, My great God is amazing. You actually used a honey trap to get the antidote. What's the relationship between Annie and the great God? Feng Xiaoxiao's eyes flashed with the light of gossip. That young lady seems to be Mr. Han's beloved Miss Yugu, but Miss Yugu seems to have lost her memory. At this time, Huang spoke up. Lost her memory. Ning Shi pondered and tentatively guessed. Could it be that Yugu didn't die and was accidentally saved by the Yun family, but lost her memory? The Yun family took a fancy to Annie's ability and adopted her. Because Yun Qing's appearance was too similar to Han Zhao's, the amnesiac quiet song had a natural sense of intimacy towards him, so she attached great importance to him. His death was a huge blow to her, which led to a series of extreme acts of revenge. No wonder Annie was so obedient just now. Is it because Han Xiao is her true lover? Tang Lang suddenly had an expression of realization. Feng Xiaoxiao murmured, I wonder what will happen to Annie and the great God. Ning Shi held the antidote tightly in her hand and looked in the direction of the two leaving. I hope Annie can recover her memory. I believe that the great God will definitely have a way. After Ning Shi finished speaking, she turned to the European emperor on the side and thanked him. Grandpa Juz, thank you for helping us in time today. If Juz hadn't appeared in time, even if most of the snipers have been eliminated, a bloody battle would have been inevitable. I've caused you trouble. Juz sighed. But I really didn't expect you to be. The producer she worked with, a kind old grandpa, suddenly became the legendary king of the underground in Europe. Ning Shi felt that it was too magical. Just smiled. I'm just a producer who likes to make movies. As Juz said this, he took a deep look at Ning Shi and then sighed. CC, you really look like Caroline. Back then, Caroline ignored my objections and insisted on acting. Just like you, she started out as a stunt double. She was very serious and worked very hard. She said that acting was her passion and her life. You're right. You're right. She wanted to get my approval. Unfortunately, when I finally understood her, she had an accident during a shooting. When I saw you, it was like seeing her. I have many sons, but only 2 daughters. My youngest daughter, Caroline, ran away from home because I wanted to marry her off to Mr. Han. Until now, she is still unwilling to call me father. In the end, Caroline also died because of my stubbornness. She was too desperate for me to acknowledge her, so she worked so hard, which led to the accident. I made a mistake. The youngest daughter that the European emperor was going to marry Han Shao was Caroline, not Caroline. They're not the same person. Also, Ningxi's background is not so complicated and has nothing to do with the European emperor. She is a member of the Zhuang family. I find that we are almost detectives. Ha! At this point, all the puzzles have been solved, and the rest is a relatively easy plot. Chapter 2142. Hearing the old man talking about the past and looking at his remorseful expression, Ningxi's heart was filled with mixed feelings. At this moment, the old man in front of her was not the famous king of the underground world, but just an ordinary father. No wonder he was so kind to her when they first met. It turned out that he saw the shadow of his daughter in her. Although Miss Caroline has passed away, she left the most beautiful scene to future generations. She worked hard not only for you, but also for her own dream. I believe she never blamed you. Ning, she said, do you really think so? Zhe's eyes flickered. Ningxi nodded. If it were me, thank you. Zhe heaved a long sigh as if he could finally let go of something. Then he looked at Ningxi and said, I'm going back to Europe tomorrow. Xiaoxi, if you come to Europe, be sure to contact me and let me be your host. I will. As Zhe left, all the people on the king's side retreated, and so did Lu Tingxiao and Yunshin's people. The huge sky spring villa returned to its former tranquility. The scenery was beautiful and the flowers were fragrant. It was as if nothing had happened. And the only person who died in this battle was Xiao Ning. She looked at Xiao Yi, who was lying on the ground and killed by Han Shao, with mixed feelings. Step by step, Tang Yi walked toward Xiao Yi, took off his coat, and covered Xiao Yi's body with it. Then he carried his body away. A teacher for a day, a father for a lifetime. Even though Xiao Yi had done that, Tang Yi couldn't bear to see his body lying in the wilderness. Tang Lang looked at Tang Ye's figure and said nothing. TSK boring. Having failed to fight, Cloudy Depths yawned lazily. The deputy who came with him hurried forward to ask, President Yin, what should we do now? The whole group has been hit hard, and everyone is waiting for your reply. Yinshin glanced at him and said lightly, Oh, then don't do it. Don't do it? The deputy looked confused. Yinshin looked at him with a smile. From now on, you are the boss. I am a boss. The deputy looked confused. What about you, President Yin? The white-haired man looked at the distant horizon. Go be a pirate. WH what? The assistant was dumbfounded. Hearing Yunshin's words, Ningxi frowned slightly. Yunshin naturally noticed her expression and said with a faint smile, What's up? Do you think I'm going to go back to my old ways and annihilate the Liu family? Don't worry, I'm not interested. This guy. Yunshin looked at Lu Tingxiao with disdain. It's too boring. With this girl around, the battle between them was destined not to happen. Ningxi looked at the person in front of her seriously. Thank you. Cloudy's casual expression suddenly became a little unnatural. Idiot, I have nothing for you to thank me for. With that, he turned around and left. Feng Xiaoxiao hurriedly followed behind, waving goodbye to Ningxi. Little junior sister, I'm leaving now. Remember to inform me when the wedding is held. A certain someone who was walking briskly in front of her immediately turned around and glared at Feng Xiaoxiao with gritted teeth. Feng Xiaoxiao looked at him innocently. Did I say something wrong? Tang Lang shook his head and clicked his tongue. You're hurting me, third junior sister. That's impossible. Actually, I was prepared to write the ending after the war, but I had a premonition that I would be beaten to death. So, there's still the movie killer, the announcement of our relationship, the wedding, the sweet marriage, and so on. The almighty and dark song will also appear again. Chapter 2143. After returning, Ningxi immediately fed Xiao Bao the antidote. Xiao Bao's body recovered. Ningxi tried to contact Han, Xiao, and Annie a few times, but she did not receive any news from them. As for the outside world, Lu Group stood firm in the storm. Foreign investors withdrew from the Chinese market, and the economic crisis gradually dissipated. Not long after, to the surprise of the entire business world, the powerful Cloud Mist Ventures chose to retreat at this time and completely withdrew from the Chinese market. Half a year later, a large-scale transnational drug smuggling case was about to start. What caught people's attention was that one of the criminals was the once popular actress in the entertainment industry, Ning Xiuhua. It was unbelievable. In a prison in the suburbs of Beijing, Ning Xiuhua sneered at the person who came. Su Yin, don't even think about it. I will never divorce you. Su Yin looked at the woman who was full of hostility. There was no trace of her former gentleness. I'm not here to talk about a divorce. Then what do you want to say? We're husband and wife. I'm here to see you for the last time. Ning Xiuhua frowned. What do you mean? Su Yin did not speak. Ning Xiuhua seemed to have thought of something, and her expression suddenly changed. Could it be that That's impossible. At most, I only have the crime of drug possession, plus those illegal activities outside of the country. I only threatened a few people and attempted murder. Even if I am sentenced to 20 or 30 years, I will definitely be released one day. Su Yan's voice was emotionless. It's not drug possession, it's illegal drug possession. Ning Xiuhua's face instantly turned pale. She said agitatedly, illegal drug possession. What illegal drug possession? I'm just helping someone hide drugs. Those drugs are not mine at all. You're slandering me. Ning Xiuhua finally panicked. If it was illegal drug possession with the amount of drugs, she would be sentenced to death. No wonder Su Yin said that he was not here to talk about a divorce. Once she died, their marriage would naturally be dissolved. She could not figure it out. She couldn't figure out how the police had the evidence of her hiding drugs, and how they knew all of her activities like the back of their hand with sufficient evidence. She knew that those people must have betrayed her, but she could not figure out why. Even if those people were abroad and their whereabouts were uncertain, even if they were exposed, the domestic police couldn't do anything to them. But what good would it do for them to give this evidence to the Chinese police? Could it be Ningxi again? Did Ningxi bribe them again? After Su Yin left, Ning Xiuhua insisted on seeing her lawyer. Will I be sentenced to 10 years or 20 years? How confident are you? Ning Xiuhua asked eagerly. The lawyer's expression flickered. Ning Xiuhua's blood turned cold when she saw the lawyer's expression. What's going on? Tell me the truth. She still had evidence of the Su family's bribery. Why did Su Yin sound so fearless just now? The lawyer hesitated for a moment, then said, Mrs. Su, I'm sorry, but I can't help you. The Su family has connections in the government. I'm afraid I can't do anything about your case. You should prepare for the worst. There's someone up there. How can there be someone up there in the Su family? The lawyer coughed lightly. Don't you know? I thought Mr. Su had already told you. Mr. Su is going to marry the eldest daughter of S City's Liang family next month. Chapter 2144. What did you say? No wonder. No wonder the Su family was in such a hurry to kill her. They were going to make room for the new wife. Ning Xiuhua's face darkened. I want to report him. I want to report Su Hongguang for bribery. I won't let them get away with it, even if I die. The lawyer sighed with pity. Miss Ning, forget it. Have you forgotten the Liang family's background? It's useless. With the relationship between the Su family and the Liang family, you'll be stopped halfway. Ning Xiuhua's face turned pale, and she fell onto the cold iron chair. Impossible. How could this be Su Yin? Su Yin, how could you do this to me? A few days later, the central square of the capital was crowded with people and cars on both sides. All the passers-by couldn't help but stop and look at the big screen above their heads. Intense fighting and gunfights, dazzling special effects, the reappearance of the classic plot, and the familiar faces of the Hua people. After the trailer ended, a banner appeared on the big screen. First day of the Lunar New Year, the killer, the king returns. Stay tuned. Ah, it's brother, she's the killer. I've been waiting for half a year, and it's finally going to be released. But it's much faster than I expected. I thought it would be the same as Agents of the Thunderbolts, which would take at least a year or two. The crew is rich, and the special effects team they hired is super awesome. Of course they're efficient. My big brother, she is so handsome. By the way, who's the ice beauty fighting alongside brother she? She's so beautiful. Well, if I'm not wrong, that's probably my brother Mai. Oh my god. Jiang Mai? Is this for real? That's Jiang Mai in drag? He's so beautiful. Do you still want us women to live? Ning, she had just finished dinner with the crew of the killer. When she went to the hotel parking lot to get her car, she saw a man. Xiao Shi. Ning Yaohua stood in front of her car, nervously, as if he had been waiting for her. Ning, she paused. Chairman Ning, what's up? Ning Yaohua coughed. It's New Year next month. Ning, she didn't know what he wanted to say, and just stood there quietly. Ning Yaohua couldn't ask Ning if she wanted to go home for the Spring Festival. Xiao, I've always wanted to talk to you, but the Ning family has been in a bad situation for the past 6 months. The company suffered a great loss at that time, and your mother became more and more absent-minded. I really can't get away from you, Ning Yaohua rambled on. In fact, after saying so much, the ultimate reason was that he didn't know how to face his daughter. Ning Yaohua took a deep breath and said, Your mother and I already know the truth about what happened back then. We know that it wasn't your fault. It was Shui Luo who framed you. Ning Yaohua looked a little embarrassed. I know it's too late to say anything now, but I'm sorry, Cici, I didn't believe you. Shui Luo's judgment has already been passed down, and she has already received the punishment she deserves. Ning, she knew something about Ning Shiluo. She had just received the news that Ning Shiluo had been sentenced to death. There was no prohibition of drugs abroad, but it was very strict in China. The amount of drugs Ning Shiluo was suspected of was so large that she could be sentenced to death. Chapter 2145. In fact, Ning Shiluo was guilty of drug possession because the drugs didn't belong to her, so she couldn't be charged with illegal drug possession. If she could find a good lawyer, she could avoid the death penalty. But the problem was that someone wanted her to die in prison. Su Yin and Ning Shiluo hadn't divorced yet. But as soon as Ning Shiluo was arrested, Zheng Minjun immediately arranged a blind date for Su Yin. Everyone in the circle knew about the affair between Su Yin and Ning Shiluo. It was impossible for the Su family to arrange a marriage with a woman with a good background. Unexpectedly, the Su family was lucky. Miss Liang of the Liang family in S City fell in love with Su Yin at first sight. Because the Liang family had connections in the court, they secretly sentenced Ning Shiluo to death. Even the evidence of Ning Shiluo accusing the Su family of bribery was intercepted and destroyed. Of course, there were two sides to every coin. This official's daughter was not an easy person to get along with. Before they even got married, she had already chased Zheng Minjun, Su Hongguang, and the rest of the Su family out of the old mansion. She was not willing to live with the Su family. Her reason was that she disliked the stink of money that they had on them. The entire Su family had no choice but to bow down to her. However, this eldest miss was still dissatisfied. Basically, she would make a big fuss every 3 days and a small fuss every 2 days. Moreover, she was extremely jealous. Not long ago, she even made the headlines with Su Yan's lover, which made everyone know about it. Zheng Minjun didn't expect that Miss Liang was so difficult to get along with. She complained incessantly, but it was too late to regret. Ning Yaohua didn't expect to get a response from Ning Shi. After saying this, he left with a lonely look. Ning Shi looked at Ning Yaohua's back. Even if Ning Yaohua and the others knew everything now, the damage had been done. She couldn't forgive him. After getting in the car, Ning Shi was about to drive when a familiar nausea suddenly came from her abdomen. She hurriedly picked up the garbage basket in the car and retched. Her face was extremely pale. After drinking some water and sitting in the driver's seat for more than 10 minutes, Ningxi finally recovered a little. Gently touching her lower abdomen, Ningxi helplessly raised the corner of her mouth and murmured, "Your brother is so obedient." Since a month ago, she always felt sleepy and had a poor appetite. At first, she just thought it was because she was too tired from filming. After a long time, Ningxi felt something was wrong and hurried to the hospital. In the end, she had just received news today that she was pregnant. She planned to delay her work and announce her marriage after Shinmian's film was finished, so she was in a hurry to speed things up. She had been so busy recently that she didn't even notice the state of her body. She didn't even notice that her period was abnormal. It wasn't until the past month that she finally took the time to get a checkup. Who knew that the results of the examination would completely stun her? She was actually pregnant, and there was another little guy in her belly. This feeling was so magical. However, this little guy was obviously not as obedient as Xiao Bao. When she was pregnant with Xiao Bao, there was almost no pregnancy reaction, but when she was pregnant with this little guy, the reaction was especially big. Fortunately, Shun Mian's film had been completed, and the promotional campaign for The Killer had also been completed. Now, she was about to drive to the company to look for Shun Mian to discuss with him about going public. As for Lu Tingxiao, he had been on a business trip abroad for the past few days and would only be back in 3 days. By the time he returned, she would have already arranged everything and announced their relationship to the public. Oh, I'm suddenly looking forward to my sweetheart's reaction. It would definitely be a pleasant surprise. Chapter 2146. Ningxi didn't dare to drive by herself, so she called Su Tao to pick her up and discuss something with him. Soon, Su Tao arrived. He was running and crawling as if his eyebrows were on fire. As he ran, his cell phone kept ringing as if it had exploded. "Brother Tao, what's wrong with you?" Seeing Su Tao sweating all over, Ningxi hurriedly handed him a bottle of water. Su Tao gulped down more than half of the bottle and could finally speak. The first thing he said was, he burst into tears. Ningxi was startled by him and hurriedly comforted him. "Brother Tao, don't worry. What happened? Tell me slowly." No matter what happened, Su Tao handled it with ease. She had never seen Su Tao so agitated. "Who the hell is it?" "My queen. Tell me which bastard it is." Su Tao scolded furiously the moment he opened his mouth. Ningxi was confused. "What bastard? Brother Tao, who are you talking about?" Su Tao stared at Ningxi's belly with red eyes. "The baby in your belly." Wow. Su Tao was so sad that he couldn't help crying on the steering wheel. "I'm so angry. My baby." Ningxi was dumbfounded. "How do you know I'm pregnant?" "It's true. It's true." Su Tao's heart was about to break. He stretched out his cell phone to show Ningxi. "Just when I received your call and was about to pick you up, Liang Feishing sent me a message saying that someone exposed the news that you are pregnant." "What?" Ningxi hurriedly picked up Su Tao's cell phone. Sure enough, the Weibo post had become the most popular topic in just 1 hour, and the words, "Ningxi is pregnant," were all over the trending topic. "Which hospital did you go to?" Su Tao asked. "The one that everyone often goes to." Because of what had happened to Xiao Bao, and Ningxi liked to let her imagination run wild these days, she thought that there was something seriously wrong with her body, so she didn't dare to tell anyone when she went to the examination, nor did she go to the military hospital. Instead, she went to a private hospital with good confidentiality. Su Tao pondered and said, "That family's confidentiality is very good, but you're pregnant." Someone probably couldn't resist the temptation. Su Tao gritted his teeth. "Let's insist that you're not pregnant and say that the test results are fake." Seeing Su Tao gnashing his teeth, Ningxi couldn't help laughing. "Brother Tao, I want to make it public this time." "What did you say?" Su Tao wanted to cry again. Which scoundrel was it that had managed to make his queen so infatuated to the point that she was willing to give up her career and go public for him? "I'm sorry, Brother Tao. I didn't tell you in advance. I only got the results today." "That's not the point. More importantly, who was that bastard?" "Your Majesty, you must think carefully. This is not a small matter. Once you make it public, it will have a huge impact on you." Although the entertainment industry is very open-minded about premarital pregnancy, the fans aren't that receptive to it. As Su Tao spoke, someone knocked on the window. "Who is it?" Su Tao immediately became vigilant. "It's me." Liang Feixing's voice sounded from outside the car. Only then did Su Tao unlock the central control. Chapter 2147. Liang Feixing opened the door and got in the car. He immediately handed Ningxi a thick stack of documents and said quickly, "I've prepared all the procedures for the publicity. You just need to set a time, and I can start to arrange and inform the reporters." Su Tao was dumbfounded when he heard Liang Feixing's words. "Damn it, who said anything about publicity? I'm discussing it with Her Majesty. And this thing, when did you prepare it?" He knew at a glance that this thing couldn't be made without several months. How could this guy have been making this kind of thing for a long time? Su Tao's face suddenly darkened. "Liang Feixing, are you crazy? Look at how ugly the words on the internet are. How many people are watching? They say that Ningxi has been pretending to be innocent, that her private life is terrible, that she cheats the feelings of her fans. How many people are jealous of Ningxi and want to pull her down these years? How many people are looking for opportunities to bite her?" Su Tao was so excited that he scolded Liang Feixing. The next second, his face suddenly changed. A large group of reporters suddenly swarmed in their direction from the entrance. Over there. It's Ningxi's car. Let's go." The reporters carried their cameras and surrounded the car in an instant. Su Tao managed to slowly drive the car out of the parking lot and then couldn't go any further. In order to block them, the reporters desperately stood in front of the car and shone their dazzling lights into the car. "Fuck!" Su Tao cursed in a low voice. Liang Feixing's face darkened because Ningxi's condition was not very good. She began to vomit again, and Ningxi's reaction made the reporters even more excited. They all raised their mobile phones and started the live broadcast. "Miss Ningxi, what do you want to say about your pregnancy before marriage? Ningxi, is it true that you are pregnant on the internet? Who is the father of the child? Is it really Jiang Mai? A reporter asked you if you were in love before, but you denied it on the spot. Now it is revealed that you were pregnant for 3 months. Does it prove that you have been deceiving your fans and the public from the beginning to the end?" Su Tao casually opened the live video website and took a look. The fans on the screen were all going crazy. "My brother, she is pregnant before marriage. This is impossible. I absolutely do not believe it. Come on, I saw Ningxi vomiting on the spot during the live broadcast. Can it be a stomach problem? The results of the inspection may also be fake. Ningxi's fans, wake up. Let's not talk about the authenticity of the test results. Why did Ningxi go to the obstetrics and gynecology department in the middle of the night for a checkup? The photos must be real." Su Tao's face turned uglier and uglier. "Liang Feixing, prepare a new PR proposal for me immediately. This matter must not be made public. That bastard could even irresponsibly get Ningxi pregnant before marriage. He was clearly a bastard scumbag. Ningxi is not clear-headed. How can you be muddle-headed? It was too noisy outside, causing Ningxi's condition to worsen. She vomited so much that she couldn't pay attention to anything else." Liang Feixing, on the other hand, remained silent from beginning to end in the face of Su Tao's agitated questioning. At this moment, the reporters outside were almost going crazy. All of them were slapping the car windows excitedly. The hotel security had been dispatched, but there was still no way to drive them away. Chapter 2148. What was worse was that many fans recognized where they were because of the live broadcast. More and more passers-by and fans can ask about it. The whole hotel was surrounded by people. They couldn't leave this time. The entire entrance of the hotel was crowded with people. It was a mess. The security guards and guards were busy, and sirens could be heard everywhere. The crazy media and excited fans didn't want to leave anyway. I absolutely don't believe it. Unless, brother, she tells us it's true. Yes. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Brother, she can't be that kind of person. Damn. Ningxi's diehard fan is still not awake. Who are you calling a diehard fan? It's up to the person who answers. You? I'll kill you. No one is allowed to insult my brother Shi. Seeing the riot of fans, Ningxi vomited and looked out of the window with a pale face. Brother Tao, open the door. I want to go out. Su Tao was shocked. What? Ningxi, you are crazy. Liang Feixing, who had been silent behind the car, said hurriedly, No, it's too dangerous. Ningxi's eyes were cold. Open the door. How could she sit in the car and watch the fans quarrel or even fight for her? But Su Tao was speechless when he saw Ningxi's sharp eyes. Ningxi was usually very good-tempered, especially to the staff. But when it came to matters of principle, no one could persuade her. No, you can't open the door. This time Liang Feixing was on Su Tao's side. There were so many people outside, and the boss's wife was pregnant. If anything happened, he would have to pay for it with his life. Just when Su Tao was hesitating, Ningxi had already walked past him, pressed the central lock, pushed the door open, and got out of the car. Ningxi, Su Tao exclaimed and hurriedly got out of the car, with Liang Feixing to protect Ningxi. The moment Ningxi got out of the car, everyone outside was stunned for a second. It seemed that they didn't expect Ningxi to get out of the car. Everyone, please be quiet. The girl looked a little weak, and her face was abnormally pale, but her eyes were as sharp as a blade, causing everyone present to be stunned and quiet. I'll tell you the reply you want now, Ningxi continued. The media, fans, and everyone in the live stream all looked surprised as they waited anxiously for Ningxi's reply. That test result is true. I'm really pregnant. The girl's clear and melodious voice rang out in the quiet air. After 3 seconds of silence, there was an immediate uproar. Oh my God, Ningxi admitted it. She's really pregnant. How is this possible? The media, which had been quiet for a while, became excited once again. Ningxi, who is the father of the child, as far as we know, you don't have a boyfriend at all. Are you having an illicit relationship with the child's father? The fans went completely crazy. How could this be? Whose child is it? Some anti-fans also took the opportunity to show up. Tut tut, I always thought that Ningxi was a clean stream in the entertainment circle. I didn't expect that she would be pregnant before marriage. She's no different from Ning Xueluo and Han Zixuan. Who knows, they might even be having fun in private. It's just that she's better at pretending not to be found out. The child's father might also be a married man. Otherwise, why would she keep hiding it? Chapter 2149. Hearing those words, Su Tao almost broke down. Liang Feixing, look at what those people are saying. It wasn't easy for Ningxi to get to where she is today, and now it's all going to be ruined because of a bastard. With Ningxi's admission, the scene erupted again, and everyone began to crazily push forward again. Just then, there was a sudden, ear-piercing sound of brakes coming from the direction behind the crowd. 7 or 8 black cars stopped uniformly opposite the hotel. More than 20 well-trained bodyguards dressed in black got out of the cars one after another. The door of the leading car was opened by a bodyguard, and a tall and slender man with a face as cold as ice got out of the car. Someone at the scene immediately exclaimed as he recognized the person. Oh my God, it's Lu Tingxiao. Damn, I'm going crazy. It really seems like it. He's so handsome in person. Why is Lu Tingxiao here? At this moment, the expression on the man's handsome face was terrifying to the extreme. He strode towards the crowd like a storm was brewing. Those bodyguards all looked cold and solemn, and the aura of the man in the lead was even more terrifying. It was as if just a glance could freeze people's blood. The chaotic crowd all subconsciously parted to form a path. The further the man walked in, the more terrifying his expression became. Wherever he walked, the sound of stepping on ice could be heard. Finally, under everyone's gaze, the man walked straight to Ningxi. His face was filled with an incomparably turbulent storm and frightening hostility. He stared at the pale girl in front of him, and with a sullen face, he carried the girl by the waist. This! The crowd exclaimed in astonishment. Although Lu Tingxiao's expression was terrifying to the extreme, he carried the girl very carefully and even seemed a little bewildered. He didn't know where to touch her, as if the girl would be hurt if he touched her a little. So much so that in the eyes of the crowd, Lu Tingxiao's movements were even a little clumsy. What's going on? Damn, Lu Tingxiao and Ningxi? What's going on? In addition to the media and fans, the most shocked was probably Su Tao. At this moment, Su Tao stared blankly at the big boss who carried Ningxi, and his expression was like a fool. Could it be that the bastard who made Ningxi pregnant was... Liang Feishing let out a long sigh of relief. His boss finally arrived in time. He was so scared that he almost had a heart attack. Under the shocked gazes, the man's cold eyes swept over everyone present. The child in Xiaoxi's belly is mine. Everyone's expression, what did they just hear? This sentence was like an atomic bomb, exploding in the dense crowd. After a brief and strange silence, the crowd suddenly burst into loud exclamations. Holy shit! Crazy! Ningxi's child is Lu Tingxiao's. I am indeed a married man, the man continued. What? Before the crowd could react, they heard the man continue. Ningxi and I have been married for 2 years, 6 months, and 17 days. Everyone, they must be hallucinating. This was the most important and eye-catching event of the year in the entertainment industry. The movie Queen Ning, she was pregnant, and the father of the child was Lu Tingxiao, the executive president of Lu Enterprises. They had been married for 2.5 years ago. And at 7 p.m., the wedding is coming up. Tomorrow I will ask everyone for a day off. I have to take a break, and then I will write a sweet and perfect wedding for you. The new book, 100 Minutes of Love. Please wait a moment, babies. I am writing. You can get up tomorrow morning to read it. Chapter 2150. However, this was not the end. Lu Tingxiao quickly added, as for premarital pregnancy, there is such a thing. Hearing this, everyone was dumbfounded, and even Su Tao was anxious. He subconsciously wanted to rush over to stop them, but he was stopped by Liang Feishing, who quickly whispered something in his ear. Su Tao was dumbfounded. What? The fans and the media who didn't know the truth were still in a daze. Damn. Did Ningxi really get pregnant before marriage? How could Lu Tingxiao expose such a thing? He knew Ningxi got pregnant before marriage, but he still chose to be with her? Lu Tingxiao's gaze swept the room, and everyone fell silent. It was so quiet that one could hear a pin drop. Lu Tingxiao said, but I'm the one at fault. Xiaoxi hadn't entered the entertainment industry at that time, so I don't think I need to explain anything to you. Damn it. Lu Tingxiao was the one at fault. What did he mean? Was it what they thought it was the legendary young master of the Lu family? Lu Tingxiao said, Ningxi is my son's mother. The child in Xiaoxi's belly is mine. Ningxi and I have been married for 2 years, 6 months, and 17 days. Ningxi is my son's mother. Lu Tingxiao appeared on stage for less than a few minutes. With just a few words, he had blown up the entire entertainment industry and all the citizens of Hua Nation. Then he left the stunned people behind and left with his wife in his arms in the car. Ningxi was still sitting in the back seat in Lu Tingxiao's arms. She hadn't said a word since she got in the car, and her face was dark. Ningxi looked at her fingers and admitted her mistake honestly. Oh, sweetheart, I'm sorry. Actually, I wanted to give you a surprise. Lu Tingxiao, yes. It was a surprise. He was scared out of his wits by her. Ningxi was about to speak when she felt nauseous again. Slow down. Lu Tingxiao frowned. Cheng Feng, who was driving, I've turned my Maybach into a battery-powered car. Boss, forget it. He would challenge the speed of a bicycle. Lu Tingxiao patted the girl's back gently, looking as if he was facing a formidable enemy. Go to the hospital. She hurriedly waved her hand. Oh no, it's just normal morning sickness. If I have to go to the hospital for this, I'll have to stay in the hospital. Lu Tingxiao, sure. Ningxi, calm down, okay? Sweetheart. Lu Tingxiao took a deep breath, but he still couldn't calm down. Ningxi looked at the man's tense expression and said helplessly, We've already had Xiao Bao. It's not our first child. Why are you still so nervous? Just nervousness? After learning about her pregnancy from others, he wished he could grow wings and fly to her side. Lu Tingxiao picked up the phone. It's okay. She's with me. She's on her way back. Okay. Home phone. Ningxi asked. Lu Tingxiao nodded. Let's go back to the mansion first. Mom and Dad already know. Oh, Ningxi didn't know why, but she had a bad feeling they arrived at the old residence of the Lu family. Ningxi got out of the car. As soon as she walked to the door, she was dumbfounded. She almost couldn't recognize where she was. From the yard to the door, there was a thick layer of soft carpet. The hard pillars and walls at the door were wrapped in a layer of soft cushion. On the gravel road, not far away, Xiaobao was instructing several robots to dig out the stones one by one and then cover them with soil again. Ningxi swallowed and turned to Lu Tingxiao. Sweetheart, I'm sorry. I wronged you just now. Chapter 2151. The Lu family's reaction was even more exaggerated than Lu Tingxiao's. Even Xiaobao couldn't avoid it, Mom. Seeing the familiar figure at the door, Xiaobao immediately rushed over. In the past, the little guy would directly jump into Ningxi's arms, but now he was probably afraid of hurting the baby in his mother's belly. He cautiously stopped 3 steps away and looked at Ningxi's belly with bright eyes. Mom, is there really a younger sister here? Ningxi chuckled. I don't know if it's a younger sister or brother. As long as it's Mom's, Xiaobao will like it. Soon, Yin Rui, Lu Chongshan, Jiang Mai's mother, and other elders of the Lu family all came out. Cici is back. Come in and be careful. Soon after Ningxi entered the house, a military jeep quickly stopped in front of the Lu family. I think the Lu family is too unreliable. Why didn't they prepare for Cici's pregnancy in advance? How dangerous it is today. What if Xiaoxi bumps into something? Meng Linlang was complaining when she saw the soft carpet in front of the Lu family's door, the soft cushions on the hard objects around, and even the tables and chairs in the yard were covered with soft leather. Zhuang Liaoyuan coughed. Cici's examination results just came out today. It must have been leaked before she had time to tell her family. Stop nagging. Go in and see how Cici is, Zhuang Zongren urged. So, in the living room, the two families gathered together. Does she feel bad? Meng Linling looked at Ningxi's pale face and felt distressed. She's fine. She's much better now. It's just intermittent. Ningxi looked at the room full of people and felt a headache. She was just pregnant. Wasn't it too exaggerated? Ningxi looked at Lu Tingxiao helplessly. Her sweetheart was obviously on the same side as them. Cici is pregnant again. When on earth is the Lu family going to hold the wedding? Zhuang Zongren looked dissatisfied. Yin Rui hurriedly said, Grandpa, don't worry. We've been preparing for the wedding since a year ago. Everything has been taken care of, and we can hold it at any time. Cici doesn't have to worry about anything. As long as her work is fine, she can set a time. Hearing Yin Rui's words, Zhuang Zongren's face softened. Cici, what do you think? Your wedding can't be delayed any longer. If those people dare to speak nonsense again, I will personally deal with them. Ningxi hurriedly said, Grandpa, don't worry. The company will handle it. In fact, I've been preparing to make it public for a long time, but I didn't expect that there would be a little accident today. Why don't we set it for next month? Meng Linling thought about it and nodded. Next month is fine. You can get married before the new year. It'll be inconvenient for you with your big belly if you delay it any longer. Yin Rui said happily, I've checked the almanac. The 8th of next month is a good day. What do you two think? Lu Tingxiao said, watch Xiaoxi. Ningxi hurriedly said, yes, I'm fine. All right, it's settled then. At the same time, in the courtyard behind the old house, on the stone steps, a certain small koi fish was squatting there quietly. He stretched out his arm and placed it on the shoulder of a certain golden retriever who was squatting beside him. Sai, this is no longer dog abuse. This is dog slaughter. I have to run away from home. Do you want to come with me? Jiang Mai said, no, uncle. Lu Jingli was surprised. Are you sure? Jiang Mai said, I've booked the plane ticket. Lu Jingli. Chapter 2152. Ningxi and Lu Tingxiao's wedding was decided in the shortest time possible. The next day, Lu Tingxiao and Ningxi's relationship was on the headlines of major magazines, newspapers, and online media. Not only the entertainment section, but also the economic section. At the insistence of the Zhuang family, Ningxi's background was also exposed. The economics section was full of reports about the alliance between Lu Group and the Zhuang family. It wasn't an exaggeration to say that the whole nation was talking about it. After the relationship between the two was exposed, everyone suddenly remembered many things that they had neglected in the past. Oh my God, my friends and I were shocked. Ningxi is Lu Tingxiao's wife. Their children are already so big. It's really surprising, but it's not untraceable. Do you remember? When Ningxi won the Golden Palm Award for Best Actress, Lu Tingxiao and Ningxi walked the red carpet together. After that, we always thought that the actress who was supposed to be with Ningxi suddenly didn't want to be on the same stage with her, so she was lucky enough to be with Lu Tingxiao. Now it seems that it wasn't a coincidence at all. This fan's words caused 1,000 ripples. Suddenly, everyone turned into Sherlock Holmes and began to look for clues. In Ningxi's acceptance speech, her last sentence was that she would never forget her original intention and continue to walk on with her heart, for her ultimate dream and for the person she loves the most. At that time, many people were guessing whether Ningxi was confessing to a specific person. Now it seems that she was confessing to Lu Tingxiao, who was present at the scene, right? That's true. Otherwise, who can explain to me why Lu Tingxiao, who never shows up in public, would attend a film award ceremony? Because it was his wife who received the award. And also, at the anniversary celebration of Shengshi Entertainment, Lu Tingxiao's first dance was with Ningxi. At that time, Ningxi was the #1 sister of Shengshi Entertainment and claimed to be the future lady boss of the company. How could she not steal the first dance? But under those circumstances, Ningxi still got the first dance. Lu Tingxiao slapped Su Yimo in the face that day and said that he didn't know her at all. He was clearly showing his loyalty in front of his girlfriend. Damn, don't say any more. My dog heart and lungs are about to be destroyed. For a moment, everyone was tortured to the point that tears welled up in their eyes. What a lovey-dovey show. It was too cruel. To think that they actually thought that Lu Tingxiao was low-key. It turned out that these two people had already shown off to the whole world long ago. It was just that they were all stupid and didn't realize it. Shengshi Entertainment Company building. At this moment, all the artists of Shengshi Entertainment were excited. Holy shit. Those idiots from Starlight Entertainment are really making me laugh to death. They actually wanted to poach our brother Shi. They're trying to poach our lady boss. Our brother Shi is too low-key. That Ningxi was just a wild chicken. She pretended to be a rich, and beautiful lady who was a winner in life. Even boss Su Yimo didn't know who she was. She even shamelessly wore the title of lady boss every day. Needless to say, Han Zixuan was a complete fake of brother Shi. But what about our elder brother Shi? She's a proper descendant of a prestigious family, the young master's biological mother, and our honorable lady boss. The results were only made public now. Chapter 2153. Because our brother Shi's strength is there for all to see. It's enough for him to rely on himself. There's no need at all. That's right. A group of people were gossiping excitedly. Suddenly, they looked at the door and exclaimed, "Brother Shi? Wow, goddess! Madam!" No one knew who shouted Lady Boss, but everyone followed suit and called her Lady Boss. Ningxi didn't know whether to laugh or cry at their enthusiasm. She greeted everyone with a smile and was about to go upstairs to find Su Tao. However, she had only taken a few steps when she heard hurried footsteps behind her. Oh my God, it's the big boss. The big boss is alive. Suddenly, all the workers around her stared at the direction behind her with widened eyes and exclamations. Ningxi turned around and saw that it was Lu Tingxiao who had quickly followed her. Oh, what's wrong? Ningxi blinked suspiciously. Scarf. Lu Tingxiao held a cashmere scarf in his hand and gently wrapped it around her neck. Ningxi touched the warm scarf. It's okay. There's a heater in the company. Lu Tingxiao took a delicate lunchbox from Cheng Feng's hand and handed it to her. Ningxi quickly took it. I forgot to take it. I've been feeling sleepy lately. My brain seems to be lacking. Lu Tingxiao looked at her with a frown. Do you remember how to take these medicines and supplements? Ning, she scratched her head. I think so. Let me tell you again. Lu Tingxiao was about to say something when he pinched between his eyebrows. Forget it. Then he looked at Cheng Feng and said, postpone today's meeting. But boss, you've already postponed it once. Before Cheng Feng could finish his words, he met his boss's sharp eyes and immediately shut up. I got it. Inform them immediately. There was nothing more important than a boss. Even if the company was going to close down, the boss wouldn't bat an eyelid, let alone a meeting. Seeing Lu Tingxiao postpone the meeting, Ning, she hurriedly said, you'd better go to the meeting. Work is more important. I can do it myself. I'm fine. Lu Tingxiao said, postpone the inspection in the afternoon. Cheng Feng said, okay, boss. Ning, she pretend I didn't say anything. Then Lu Tingxiao put off all his work that day and accompanied Ningxi upstairs. At this moment, all the employees of Shengshe Entertainment burp, so full. I'm convinced by this dog food. Big Boss is insane when it comes to spoiling his wife. I'm going to complain on Weibo. Where's the Singles United Protection Association? Oh, sweetheart, I think Big Brother Tao will be scared to death if you accompany me like this. Before entering Su Tao's office, Ning, she murmured. After knocking on the door, just as Ning, she had expected, Su Tao almost peed his pants when he saw the big boss beside Ning Shi. He had no choice. He had a guilty conscience. Who asked him to say so many bad things about the big boss yesterday? He actually dared to call the big boss a scumbag and a bastard. Boss. Ning, she placed Lu Tingxiao on the sofa and then sat in front of Su Tao's desk. Brother Tao, don't worry about him. Let's continue with the rest of the work. She had to tie up some work before the wedding. At this moment, Su Tao was about to cry. Come on, the big boss has such a strong sense of existence. How could he pretend that he didn't exist? Seeing that Lu Tingxiao didn't pay attention to him at all and was talking to his assistant, Su Tao finally relaxed a little and began to sort out some of the work that Ning she had to finish at this stage. Chapter 2154. I don't have much work to do. The only business trip is for LG's new product launch, which is in China. The boss said, ask them to come to China for the conference. Su Tao swallowed. Well, I'm afraid there's no other way. Lu Tingxiao said, Cheng Feng. Cheng Feng immediately said, no problem, I will contact them. LG is Lu Enterprises' business partner. Lu Tingxiao asked, is there any problem? Su Tao shook his head. No. My boss, you are awesome. Su Tao flipped through the itinerary. Then there will be the premiere of The Killer. You have to attend it. There may be a lot of people there, but the security will be ready. Clear my itinerary for that day. Lu Tingxiao said to Cheng Feng. Yes. Cheng Feng quickly took notes. Su Tao, boss, if you go too, the scene will be even crazier, okay? Then Su Tao reported Ning Shi's itinerary one by one, and Lu Tingxiao cleared all the time according to Ning Shi's itinerary. Ning Shi had wanted to say something at first, but in the end, she gave up. Su Tao talked for a long time, and Ning, she was a little sleepy. She closed her eyes and yawned. Lu Tingxiao stopped her immediately. Are you sleepy? Go get some sleep. Ning, she rubbed her eyes. But I have a meeting later. Su Tao nodded. Boss, there's a company meeting later. Lu Tingxiao walked up to Ning Shi. Go to sleep. I will help you. Ning Shi laughed. How are you going to help me? Lu Tingxiao asked. Is there a rule that family members are not allowed to help in a meeting? Su Tao said, no. Even if there was, he was the boss of the company. Who could say anything if he wanted to change the rule? Just like that, Su Tao's face was covered in blood. Just as he was about to go to the company's group chat to complain, he realized that everyone was the same as him. They had all been abused once. Then in the following meeting, everyone was humiliated by the boss who held the meeting on behalf of the boss's wife. Lu Jingli and Jiang Mai, who had not left the company's group chat in time, they were showered with dog food again. In the end, Lu Jingli's plan to run away from home was undoubtedly aborted because he was caught by his mother to help with the wedding arrangements. As for the golden retriever, he might be able to hide for the first time, but he wouldn't be able to hide forever. On the day of the wedding, he still had to obediently come back to eat this golden bowl of dog food. In order not to be disturbed by the outside world, Ning Shi and Lu Tingxiao's wedding venue was set on a small island under Lu Tingxiao's name. There was a fairy tale-like church on the island. It was personally designed by Lu Tingxiao and completed 2 years ago. The style of the entire island was also extremely romantic. Anyone who was observant could tell that the entire island was built for the wedding. Is everything ready? No, not this pair of earrings. This is for toasting. What about the pearl pair? Here, I'm keeping it for you. In the room, Zhuang, Ke, and Ning Tianxin had been busy accompanying Ning Shi since 5 o'clock in the morning. Although everything had been prepared in advance, there were too many things to do that day, so it was inevitable that it was a bit messy. In addition, Ning Shi was pregnant, so he had to be more careful. Outside the door, Lu Tingxiao strode in. The man was wearing a wedding dress with a groom's emblem on his chest. He was dazzling. Chapter 2155. As soon as they entered, the man frowned and looked at his tired wife. Are you okay? Why don't we postpone the wedding? There were so many guests on the island, and he said postpone the wedding? Ning Shi heaved a sigh. Sweetheart, when will you calm down? Lu Tingxiao bent over, his eyes reflecting his wife, who was more beautiful than ever. I can't calm down. The thought of you carrying my child and the thought of growing old with you. Ning Shi chuckled. Kiss me. How could Lu Tingxiao refuse such a request? He bent over and kissed the girl's forehead. Ning Shi smiled. I'm fine now. I'm not tired at all. Lu Jingli had just pushed open the door when he saw this scene. Tears welled up in his eyes. Brother, are you guys done? The guests are waiting outside. Have eldest senior brother and third senior sister arrived? Ning Shi asked anxiously. Lu Jingli shook his head. I don't think I saw them. Oh. Ning Shi looked a little disappointed. She had already contacted Tang Yi and Feng Xiaoxiao, but she didn't know where Tang Yi and Feng Xiaoxiao were currently on a mission and probably wouldn't be able to make it. Don't worry, they will come. Lu Tingxiao stroked the girl's head. Almost as soon as Lu Tingxiao's voice fell, there was a loud roar of propellers outside the window. A helicopter slowly descended from the sky. A person did not wait for the helicopter to completely land and jumped down nimbly, then directly flipped over the window and entered. The person was hot and had long wavy hair. She looked valiant and heroic. Baby, third senior sister. Ning Shi was pleasantly surprised. Feng Xiaoxiao complained as soon as she saw Ning Shi. Damn it. Junior sister, your man is too much. He directly sent someone to kill my mission target and then stuffed me into the helicopter. I was so fucking dumbfounded. I thought I was being betrayed. But they told me they invited me to your wedding. That was so exciting. Ning Shi glanced at Lu Tingxiao speechlessly. She had thought Lu Tingxiao was just comforting her when he said they would come. Feng Xiaoxiao walked over and gave Ning Shi a big hug. Baby, happy wedding. You are so beautiful today. Thank you, senior sister. Ning Shi's chest was filled with warmth. She didn't have many friends, but every one of them was extremely important to her. After a short rest, Ning Shi and Lu Tingxiao went outside to welcome the guests. Congratulations. Congratulations to both of you. The relatives and friends of Ning Shi and Lu Tingxiao, Su Tao, Liang Feixing, Qin Shuang, Qin Mufeng, Jiang Mai, and Mo Lingtian arrived one after another. Xiaoxi, where's your corsage? Suddenly, Ning Tianxin looked at Ning Shi's chest and asked in surprise. Ning Shi looked down. It was here just now. It might have fallen on the road, but it's okay. There's a spare in the house. I'll go look for it. Ning Tianxin hurriedly went back into the house to get the corsage. Because he was walking too fast, he accidentally bumped into an embrace that was filled with the smell of tobacco when he turned the corner of the corridor. Ning Tianxin lowered her head and apologized. I'm sorry. In the end, the person she bumped into didn't make sound. Ning Tianxin raised her head and was stunned the next second. The cigarette between Mo Lingtian's fingers fell to the ground. He looked at the girl in front of him in a daze. Tianxin. Chapter 2156. Xiaoxi lost her corsage. I'm going to get her a spare one. Why are you here alone? Everyone's in front, Ning Tianxin said. Mo Ling Tian snapped out his daze. They stayed up too late last night. I didn't sleep well. I'm going to find a place to rest. The guest room is upstairs. Okay. Then, he didn't say anything else. I'll get back to work. Ning Tianxi nodded and walked past him. Mo Ling Tian didn't know how long the girl had been gone. He was still standing there in a daze, recalling the girl's voice and expression. She's really let it go. That's good. Seeing that the wedding was about to begin, Ning-Shi was making the final preparations in the dressing room when Tang Lang pushed the door open and walked in. Little junior sister, look who's here. Ha ha. Ning-Shi looked behind Tang Lang suspiciously. The next second, her eyes lit up. Guru. In addition, there was a girl beside Han Xiao. Although the girl's style of dress and temperament were very different, she could still be recognized at a glance. Annie, happy wedding. The girl looked unfamiliar, but there was a trace of familiarity between her brows. Thank you. Ning-Shi didn't know what to say. Although the person in front of her was Annie, it was clearly not Annie. I'm sorry. The girl looked down. I just remembered everything not long ago. Although I lost my memory, I did hurt you guys. Tang Lang tried to smooth things over. Hey, Grandma, today is such a happy day. Don't bring up those unhappy things anymore. Ning-Shi also said, let bygones be bygones. As long as you're happy with the guru now. Knowing that Annie had remembered everything, Ning-Shi was more or less relieved. Hey, you go. When are we getting married? Han Xiao suddenly said. The girl's tone was slightly cold. Didn't you say that weddings are worldly and troublesome and you don't want to think about it in this lifetime? Tang Lang and Ning-Shi, Guru, your EQ is worrying. How can you say that to a girl? A certain guru immediately looked innocent. Hey, did I say that? Didn't I say that weddings are worldly and troublesome and I don't want to think about it with other women in this lifetime? Tang Lang and Ning-Shi, Guru. We were wrong, Guru. Amidst the sound of waves crashing on the beach, the church bells rang and a solemn wedding march sounded. The wedding ceremony officially began. Everyone's gaze fell on the pair of enviable newcomers. In his seat, Lu Jingli's eyes were filled with tears. Oh, I'm so touched. My brother has been waiting for this day. Jiang Mai gave him a pack of tissues in disgust. Worry about yourself. Second uncle. Once everything on uncle's side was over, we were forced to get married. Lu Jingli, as soon as the wedding is over, I'll run away from home. At the very end of the church, no one noticed a flash of white hair. The man had changed from his usual casual and unruly attire. He was wearing an extremely formal suit, and his hair was combed neatly behind his head. He was holding a bouquet of flowers in his arms. At this moment, he was quietly watching the girl who was walking step by step towards the priest with another man, holding a bouquet, dressing up to attend, but only because he missed it. The man looked a little impatient and threw the flowers in his hand to the man beside him. Tut, it's so troublesome. Who said that a wedding gift must be given? Send the goods we just robbed over. Tangy. Yes. What good just robbed? They were all the treasures he had found over the years. He was like a dragon guarding a treasure, but at this moment, he was giving away all his best. This man who had never understood what love was finally understood it because of a girl. The wedding march came to an end. The couple stood in front of the priest. Mr. Lu Tingxiao, do you take Miss Ning-Shi as your wife? Are you willing to love her and be loyal to her, no matter poverty, sickness, or hardship, to stay with her all your life until death? I do. Bride, Miss Ning-Shi, do you take Mr. Lu Tingxiao as your wife? Are you willing to love him and be loyal to him, no matter poverty, sickness, or hardship, to stay with him all your life until death? Ning-Shi quietly looked at the man in front of her. She looked at the man who stubbornly wanted to marry her the first time they met. She looked at the man who would always be with her no matter what happened. She looked at the man who would fulfill his vow to marry her even if he was alone. Fortunately, this time, I didn't leave you alone. A trace of tears he flashed across the girl's eyes. Her tone was unprecedentedly solemn, as if she was handing over her life. I do. That was the end. This is the real ending, babies. I won't tell you that I cried writing this chapter. Thank you for your company during this period of time. Time is not old, and we will not separate. See you in the new chapter. I don't know when A Secret Marriage will be released. After a few days of rest, I will write a little about the daily life of the family of four. The rest will be written according to my inspiration. If there's a good plot, I will also write a little. The specific update time is not set. I will inform you in the comment section and in Honey Love. You can refresh it. The Book of Hidden Marriage, A Gentleman Returns Kindness, is about to be released. I will inform you when the pre-sale time is out. New book, Honey Love 100 Points. A Bad Wife is a Little Sweet. Chapter 2157. After the wedding, the guests left one after another. But it wasn't over yet. Feng Xiaoxiao got drunk and went to the bridal chamber with a bunch of friends. When the groom, Lu Tingxiao, arrived at the door, he saw Feng Xiaoxiao and 7 or 8 girls standing there, giggling. Feng Xiaoxiao crossed her arms and chuckled. I'm sorry, President Lu. We're all junior sister's maiden family. If you want to enter the bridal chamber, you'll have to pass our test first. Lu Xinyan chimed in immediately. That's right. It won't be that easy to snatch our idol away. Agreed. Annie was the one who spoke. Damn, Annie, why are you following third brother's lead? Tang Lang was speechless. Lu Jingli was also speechless. And Xinyan, aren't you supposed to be on our side? Lu Xinyan stuck out her tongue. Who said so? I'm on my cousin-in-law's side. Now, Feng Xiaoxiao had Zhuang Ke, Ning Tianxin, Annie, Lu Xinyan, and a total of 8 girls. All of them were Ning Shi's bodyguards and diehard fans. Some even treated Lu Tingxiao as a love rival. On Lu Tingxiao's side were Lu Jingli, Jiang Mai, Tang Lang, Mo Lingtian, and Qin Mufeng. What's the test? There was a lazy smile in Lu Tingxiao's tipsy eyes. It was probably because he was in a good mood that he didn't care about their nonsense at all and let them do as they pleased. Feng Xiaoxiao rolled her eyes and said, There are a total of 3 tests. You have to pass all 3 tests to win the beauty's heart. What's the first test? Lu Jingli asked warily. Feng Xiaoxiao harumphed, a sinister look on her face. The first test is a guess. We'll give you 3 questions for you to guess. If you get it right, you pass. I'll go first. Please guess what I'm thinking about right now. When Tang Lang heard this, he immediately shouted, Fuck! Third brother, you're too much. Do you know how important a day like this is to a man? I can't take it anymore. Lu Jingli frowned. How are we supposed to guess? You can say we're wrong no matter what we guess. Jiang Mai and Qin Mufeng nodded in agreement. This question is too perverted. As long as she doesn't want us to answer correctly, then it's impossible for us to pass. After that, the men looked at Lu Tingxiao sympathetically. Feng Xiaoxiao smirked. What do you think? Don't tell me you're going to give up at the first stage. In this case, junior sister will belong to us tonight. Tang Lang immediately said, You're thinking about men. Feng Xiaoxiao waved her finger. Wrong. Lu Jingli, are you thinking of getting married? Feng Xiaoxiao, wrong. Fuck. Qin Mufeng, come. Aren't you a psychologist? What's wrong with being a psychologist? Even if I can read minds, if I'm right and she refuses to admit that she's wrong, there's nothing I can do. Then what should we do? It's only the first question, and it's already so crazy. At this moment, Lu Tingxiao, who had been silent all this while, looked down and said slowly, You're thinking about not letting me in. Feng Xiaoxiao smiled proudly. She was about to say wrong again when she realized what Lu Tingxiao had said. She was stunned. Fuck, Boss Lu, aren't you too sinister? Feng Xiaoxiao broke down. If she said that he guessed wrong, then wouldn't that mean that she wanted him to enter the house? Then there wouldn't be a need for the later stages. She would have to let him in directly. If she said that she guessed right, then he would have to pass this question. Lu Jingli burst into laughter. Ha ha, you're amazing, brother. Feng Xiaoxiao gritted her teeth in anger. You win. You guessed right. Chapter 2158. Who else? Who's going to come up with the second question? Tang Lang asked excitedly. Feng Xiaoxiao glanced at the girls and picked Zhuang Ke. You do it. On me? Zhuang Ke hesitantly walked out, looking a little embarrassed. Let me think about it. After thinking for a while, Zhuang Ke said, well, my question is, what dress did Xiaoxi wear to the Golden Palm Awards? Lu Tingxiao answered without thinking. Nirvana series, red sunset style. Zhuang Ke nodded. Correct. Feng Xiaoxiao was dumbfounded. That's it. Ke, you're too soft-hearted. This question is too easy, Tang Lang complained. Why don't you say you're too perverted? Do you think every girl is like you? Zhuang Ke said helplessly. This question isn't easy. Even Xiaoxi's die-hard fans can't remember every dress and the series name so accurately. Feng Xiaoxiao had no choice but to admit it. There was only one question left for the first round. They had to be careful. Feng Xiaoxiao looked at Ning Tianxin. The third question. Guess which is Tianxin's favorite painting. You have to get it right on the first try. Tang Lang immediately protested. That's too much. It's no different from the first question, and there's no way to solve it. Feng Xiaoxiao rolled her eyes. Don't worry, I won't bully you. This time, I'll ask Tianxin to write the answer in advance. As long as you get it right, I'll definitely pass. Lu Jingli mumbled, but it's still hard, okay? Feng Xiaoxiao raised an eyebrow. Please, look at who's in the room. The most beautiful woman in Country Z. This is too easy for you, okay? Lu Tingxiao nodded in agreement. Yes. Lu Jingli. Brother, whose side are you on? He was so worried about having such an unprincipled brother. Lu Jingli could only run to Qin Mufeng. Hey, Dr. Qin, you're the most familiar with this beautiful sister. You must know which painting she likes the most, right? Qin Mufeng's expression was also a little awkward. I do know that Tian Xin likes Monet, but Monet has so many paintings, I can't be sure which one she will write. Lu Jingli's face fell. That's terrible. Even my brother can't solve this kind of problem, right? It's time. Have you guys finished discussing? Feng Xiaoxiao walked forward with a piece of paper that Ning Tianxin had written the answer on. Hurry up. Have you thought of something? Lu Jingli and the others urged. Qin Mufeng was badly battered. This was related to a certain demon king's sexual happiness. If he messed it up, wouldn't he be dead meat? Sunrise impression? Lunch on the grass? Or water lilies? The water lilies seems more likely, but I'm not 100% sure. Qin Mufeng moved closer to Ning Tianxin helplessly. Tianxin, can you give me some clues? Ning Tianxin hesitated. This Feng Xiaoxiao immediately separated them. What are you doing? What are you doing? Reject, lust, seduction. Behave yourselves. 10 seconds left. If you don't give me an answer, I'll take it as you've lost. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Wait. Let's think. Fuck, can't you give us some clues? At this moment, a man's slightly hoarse voice rang out from the noisy crowd. Zero's prisoner. The person who spoke was Mo Lingtian. Chapter 2159. The first and second tests are both academic tests, so the third test will naturally be a combat test. Feng Xiaoxiao coughed lightly and said slowly, the content of the third test is, Annie followed up, defeat me. After hearing Annie's words, Lu Jingli and Tang Lang were speechless. Fuck, this is more than difficult. She's a freak. Is this lady very powerful? Qin Mufeng and the others who didn't know the truth asked. She's more than powerful. She's a lethal weapon. Tang Lang swallowed his saliva and felt an inexplicable pain in his ribs. None of you could defeat her, Qin Mufeng asked. Tang Lang nodded. Not even all of us combined. At this moment, Lu Jingli seemed to have thought of something, and his eyes suddenly lit up. All right. We can look for external help. Where's God Han Xiao? Tang Lang scratched his head. You want to buy food? Looking for me. Behind them, a long-haired man walked towards them with a bag of food in his hand. Tang Lang hurriedly went up to greet him. Yes. Grandpa, you came at the right time. These women are blocking the bridal chamber. We have to pass 3 tests. We've already passed 2 tests, and there's only 1 left. We have to defeat Annie. So, we can only rely on you, Grandpa. Han Xiao strolled to Annie's side and looked at Tang Lang, as if he was looking at an idiot. Why would I hit my wife? No. According to the rules, you should actually belong to our side. Tang Lang hurriedly said. Han Xiao replied with an, "Oh," and then said, "Then consider it as me defecting to the enemy." Everyone, this was the first time they saw someone defecting to the enemy so naturally. Their only hope actually defected just like that. Ha ha ha, Annie, well done. Now the god is on our side. You guys, obediently accept your death. Feng Xiao Xiao excitedly put her hands on her hips as if she was finally going to counterattack. Wait a moment. Lu Tingxiao took the phone and walked to the side. Seeing this, everyone looked in Lu Tingxiao's direction curiously. My uncle went to find an expert. Jiang Mai, who had changed his clothes, walked out. Lu Jingli scratched his head, unsure. Probably. Tang Lang touched his chin. How come I didn't know? Boss has an expert that's even more abnormal than Annie? After hearing Tang Lang's words, the few of them became even more curious. All of them looked towards the direction of the door in anticipation. After a few minutes, the sound of footsteps came from the door. Tang Lang immediately pricked up his ears. Listening to this footstep, it's steady and powerful. Seems like he's a martial artist. Oh, it's just that. Why do I feel that this person's lower body is a little low? Lu Jingli, what do you mean by having a low floor? Tang Lang, it's just that he's probably a little short. As the two of them discussed seriously, Feng Xiao Xiao also revealed a vigilant expression. Could it be that Lu Tingxiao really had an expert that she didn't know about? Under everyone's gaze, the person pushed the door open and walked in. In the next second, a cute and soft little bun appeared in front of everyone. When Lu Jingli saw that it was Xiao Bao who came in, his eyes almost popped out. Fuck, little treasure. Tang Lang was even more dumbfounded. Disciple, why is it you? Fuck, no wonder he felt that his lower body was low. 4 bonus chapters will continue to be updated from time to time. Also, I want to inform everyone that the book, A Gentleman Repays Kindness, published by 100 Points of Hidden Marriage, Making My Lovely Wife Marry One, Get One Free, has already started pre-sales. The pre-sales are all autograph copies. The purchase address is Tmall's Dajo Book exclusive store. The store link can be found in the comment section and on my Weibo currently. This is the only store that has the autograph version. Chapter 2160. Lu Jingli gulped. Brother, don't tell me the expert you invited is Xiao Bao. Tang Lang looked at his disciple sympathetically. He's really a biological father. Xiao Bao ignored his second uncle and master and walked straight up to Annie. His pitch-black, bright eyes were filled with affection and love. Big sister Annie. Annie's cold expression softened the moment she saw Xiao Bao. Xiao Bao. She always had complicated feelings toward Xiao Bao. She had been hiding by Lu Tingxiao's side for a long time, but couldn't find a chance to make a move. Just when she was about to give up, she discovered the existence of this child and planned a revenge that lasted for 7 years. She had personally saved this child. When she first held him in her arms, he was just a little blue and blue. Many years later, he was by Ningxi's side, soft and adorable. His clear and clean eyes made it difficult for her to look him in the eye. She still didn't know why she had secretly given Xiao Bao that fragrance pouch to alleviate the effects of the drug. Was it because the time wasn't right, or was it because she couldn't bear to do it? This child still didn't know anything and still treated her like a dear sister. Xiao Bao stood in front of Annie and cupped his fists. Sister Annie, I'll fight against you in the 3rd round. Please enlighten me. Annie slowly squatted down in front of the little fellow. Her eyes were filled with love as she said gently, I admit defeat. If it wasn't for Xiao Bao, everything that happened after that wouldn't have happened. She wouldn't have met Han Xiao, and she wouldn't have recovered her memories. She wouldn't have found herself. She would have lived her entire life in a fake revenge. Not to mention admitting defeat. She was willing to do anything for this child to make up for it. Xiao Bao was a little conflicted when he heard this. It'll be an unfair victory. Annie couldn't help but laugh. How could that be? You defeated me with your charm. I admit defeat willingly. The moment Annie said this, a cold light flashed across Han Zhao's eyes. He stared at Xiao Bao and said softly, Kid, let's fight. Annie instantly glared at a certain childish person behind her. Xiao Bao pursed his lips shyly. Thank you, Sister Annie. Feng Xiao, who was originally confident in her victory, was dumbfounded. Her jaw almost dropped. Fuck, you can even do that? Lu Tingxiao, you're too cunning. You're breaking the rules. Lu Jingli guffawed. Ha 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 ha, do you know that all is fair in war? Besides, our Xiao Bao is so cute. We won fair and square. Tang Lang chimed in. We should be the ones saying this. Now that we've passed the 3 stages, you guys can't act shamelessly. Feng Xiao instantly broke down and held onto the doorframe. Fuck. No, my junior sister. Didn't we agree that you're the wind and I'm the sand, that will be entangled until the end of the world? Tang Lang pulled the drunken Feng Xiao over. All right. If you continue to obstruct junior sister's matters, be careful that junior sister will scratch you to death if she finds out. Second senior brother will take you out for a drink. Be good. Go away. Who wants to drink with an old man like you? I'm not leaving. Tang Lang touched his handsome face, indicating that he had suffered 10,000 points of damage. Can father find you a little fresh meat? Not leaving. 2. Deal. After Feng Xiao, the instigator, was taken away, everyone tactfully left. If this continued, a certain Demon King would probably flip out no matter how good his mood was and how patient he was. Demon King Lu. I've been stuck on our wedding night for half a month, HM? A certain author trembled. Ninth Master, save me. Demon King C. I heard Wanwan confess to you in public? HM. A certain author. How can I deal with being chased by 2 great devils at the same time? I'm waiting online urgent. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.